You want to tell people what we're doing here, Joe? You want to tell people what we're doing here?
Do you want to tell them what we're doing? What are we doing here?
What are you doing here?
We're here to see Shaun King talk about how we can help with protest and community development, deal with our anxiety and angst about the political system and injustice that we're facing.
Where our city is putting its resources. So we got a new chief coming in. She's here. Okay, nice to meet you. I'm Kat Brooks of the Anti-Police Terror Project. I'm sure maybe you had a thing or two to say about me to you. $300,000 a year. Exactly. I want to have that conversation. $300,000 a year when we cannot afford to keep schools open, black people and brown people in this city. Somebody has to make that make sense in my head.
I'm telling this to
core theories basically say human beings are getting better. And for most of Von Rocky's life, he thought, hey, we're doing it a little better than them, and they're doing it a little better than them, and they're doing it a little better than them, right? But when he started really looking at it, and he laid out, this is the timeline of the history of London, when he laid out all of human history, what he found is that human beings don't look like this, they look like this. That human beings aren't steadily getting better. That's not true. Technology is steadily getting better. But when he looked at all of human history, what he found was that sometimes human beings are amazing. And he found, and it sounds weird today, because we don't know this world. He found periods of human history where people treated each other in some of the most dignified ways. Where there was very little war, very little famine, incredible collaboration between people groups all over the world. What he found was that, no, humanity is not this steady incline in quality. Sometimes human beings are great, and sometimes human beings suck. I thought we were on a steady incline in the quality of humanity. But if we're steadily inclining, how do we explain Donald Trump? Because here's the thing, if this is true, that means Donald Trump is peak humanity. Like that's not even a liberal joke. I don't even think conservatives don't believe Donald Trump is peak humanity. His own approval ratings are now 10 points less than the number of people who voted for him. If this is true, we can't explain Donald Trump. It's because this is not how time works. Publicly, repeatedly, over and over and over again, to forcefully deporting people. And he said he would deport 14 million people in 2 years or less. Which, I did the math, that's 450,000 people a month. You know what that looks like? It looks like the Holocaust. How do you deport 450,000 people a month? Now, that is why you now see Holocaust survivors speaking out against the immigration ban and against the ICE raids happening across the country. Because they remembered how the early days of that felt. And it's deeply painfully reminiscent. Do you see this line right here? Okay, this is broken. It barely goes above the line, it corrects itself. That's science. Science is a slight deviation from the mean. And it corrects itself, as you see, it then dips back below it. This cannot happen on accident. This is a system that it's not accidental, it's firing on all cylinders. This is an accident like you could accidentally build a house. That you could accidentally build a highway. It takes plans, it takes people, it takes money and resources. This is not broken. Saying it's broken assumes that it was designed well. And it has now deviated from it. No, this was built to function this way.
freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. Yeah, freedom, freedom, where are you? 'Cause I need freedom too. I break chains.
And you gotta realize this is unfolding in real time. They had the thought, which was the right thought, I'm gonna go get her. This is not right, I need to snatch her out of here. She's done nothing wrong, she's broken no laws. And he has the thought, I'm gonna shoot them. Okay, one, Barack Obama would never instruct people to do something like that. But if scores of black men began shoving Becky all through the crowd, Secret Service would intervene. They were there at this event. State and local police were there. Somebody would stop it. We estimated, and she's suing the city, we estimated that at least 15 or 20 officers saw this go down, had no thought to stop it. Why not? Why not stop that? They didn't mind it. If you mind it, you stop it. We have to correct our history, because when you have Donald Trump as president, he's liable to talk about Frederick Douglass like he lives down the street. Did you see that foolishness? Hold on, I see a moment to have a Donald Trump riff, okay? He literally, you have to read the transcript of his comments on Frederick Douglass, where he talked about the active, current contributions of the man. It was if Saturday Night Live created that skit, it would seem outrageous that he would speak of Frederick Douglass in present tense. 6 courts ruled against Donald Trump's immigration ban, and then, hold on. Then a 7th court, a panel of 3 judges, Democrat and Republican, appointed by Democratic and Republican presidents, ruled just this past week 3-0 against the immigration ban. Now you can clap your hands. Donald Trump wrote a tweet telling, okay, 7 courts have now ruled against you. A federal panel of 3, a bipartisan panel of 3 federal judges just said this is unconstitutional. And Donald Trump tweeted, "See you in court." It's like, no, you just lost in court. So the press conference is 15 minutes long, Josh. He's at the press conference, and the Prime Minister of Japan is speaking Japanese. Donald Trump does not speak or understand Japanese, but he forgot to put on his translation headset, or refused to. Reports say that he's almost impervious to advice or counsel. He shuns it. But for the entire press conference, he pretended as if he understood what the Prime Minister was saying. So throughout the press conference, he would nod, sometimes he would no, and he did not even understand. We are in a dip in the quality of our humanity. And what I'm trying to explain to you is that right now we are somewhere in this dip, and to get out of the dip takes a whole lot of effort. This is my theory of change. We could add more layers to it. There are 4 ways that you make change. 4 elements that you have to have. If I had a whiteboard, I would draw a chair. And the first leg of that chair is people. You have to have people to make change happen. You have to have people, but you have to have energy. And the people are energized. That's why people showed up at airports all across this country and said, no. If you're going to be ugly to immigrants, to refugees, and Muslims at airports, damn it, I'm going to come here and watch it for myself. I'm going to see it. Yeah, the energy is there. That's how the Women's March, it was fueled by energy. We can talk about philosophy, what it is. People are energized. People, that's the second leg of the chair. People have to be willing to put in the time. And what I see right now, I see people that's what you're doing right now. You said, there's so many other things you could be doing on a Saturday, but you said, I'm gonna come do this. So you have to have people, you have to have energy, you have to have time. But if you sit on a leg and one of the chairs is, when you sit on a chair and one of the legs is missing, you'll fall. You have to have a strategy, right? And we were talking about this before we started. There's not a clear strategy. Now, there are pockets of very strategic people among us. I have strategic ideas. Kat has strategic ideas. But the masses of people are not clear on what the strategy is. I've polled them. I've researched it. When I give people the mic and say, what is the strategy of the Democratic Party to find our way out of here? There were 43 white presidents. That's a lot of white presidents. 43 white male presidents. And then this nation went and decided to get all innovative. And they could have elected Colin Powell, who was a conservative Republican military leader, but they elected him. See, his name is familiar now, but in 2006 and 2007, the name Barack Hussein Obama was crazy. I remember when I first learned about him, I first thought, well, what's his name? What? That we introduced an innovation. We can talk about his progressive politics, whatever, I'm not going to talk about that. But we introduced an innovation that disturbed the primary people in power. And in every year after President Obama was elected, hate crimes increased in this country. Hate groups increased in this country. And I just went and reread it, and it's eerie now seeing it in light of his win. That I did not know, but Atlantic Magazine had been in continuous publication since 1858, the longest running magazine in American history. And they said when they endorsed Hillary Clinton that they had only endorsed 2 previous presidential candidates. They endorsed Abraham Lincoln in 1860, and they republished the endorsement. It was actually powerful to read, well written, beautiful, and they were almost like prophets. They said, we believe our nation is about to be split in 2, and we believe there's only one person who can save the Union, and we believe in the process that he may end the institution of slavery. Abraham Lincoln won, and those things happened. They then waited 104 years until they endorsed their next presidential candidate. They endorsed Lyndon Johnson in 1964. And their endorsement of Lyndon Johnson was a lot like their endorsement of Hillary Clinton. They basically said in the endorsement, we don't even like Lyndon Johnson. But they said it was actually very touching. They said, our president was just assassinated. And we believe that because many things happening in our country, that our country, particularly around the issue of civil rights, could be split in 2. And so for the first time since the Civil War, we are endorsing another presidential candidate, and Lyndon Johnson won. And they said, we believe that he will pass, new civil rights legislation, and he did. It was Lyndon Johnson who signed the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. What shook me was, they said there were 3 periods in American history that had them shook. One was the Civil War. I understand that. The other was the Civil Rights Movement. And the other one was right now. I started by saying it's hard to know a moment in history when you're in it. I believe, as a kid, I used to wonder, if I was in the Civil Rights Movement, what would I do? Who would I be? And a lot of you have wondered that. Would I stand up for people? Would I fight for rights? What would my life look like? But you no longer have to ask yourself who you would be if you were alive in 1967. What you really need to ask yourself, and the true test of who you would be in 1967 is what you did yesterday. Right? Or the more hopeful way of saying it is, the true test is, what are you going to do tomorrow? Because here's what I believe. Right now, where we look back and we say, oh my God, this feels like the 60s. Here's what's going to happen. 60 years from now, people are going to say, oh my God, this feels like 2017. That's where you live. And so what I'm asking is for every one of you in the room to make that heart commitment to being a part of the struggle. That word struggle is the right word. To be a part of the struggle, to find ourselves through and out of the dip. All right? God bless you. Thank you for having me.